Hello and welcome to Vision 2020, the corporate viewfinder. We, of course, are debating a big issue out here, which is what is corporate India doing at the moment to allow human progress along with economic advance? I've got a very interesting panel lined up for you. Got Sanjeev Aga here with me in the studio. Thank you very much for joining us. And we also have Windy Banga. We've got Gunit Chadda, Kishore Biani and Mr. R. Gopalakrishnan from Tata Sons. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show. Mr. Aga, let me start by asking you, what is really your view on how India Inc. can evolve itself as a sort of, corporation that goes beyond its own numbers, beyond profitability?
Your larger topic of vibrant economy and a just society for 2020, 10 years from now, I think vibrant economy, relatively speaking, is easier. I think we are a very undermanaged company, and there is a lot of low-hanging fruit. So I think, of course, there could be hiccups, but I think we are pretty much on track to do high growth rates. We have a serious problem on a just society.
We are raising some important questions on this show, so let's start by reminding our viewers what those are really. In this segment, the first question we're raising is India delivering on human progress with economic advance? Second, will India become a victim of social unrest? Who does the onus lie on for better distribution of wealth and fewer disparities? Let's now bring in our other voices as well. We've had a view coming in there from Sanjeev Aga, but let's get Gunit Chadda in. Gunit, how sustainable is the disproportionate distribution of riches in a society like India? And really, what are we doing to try and bridge this?
I think, Shaili, you've got your finger on a very important question. While the trickle-down effect will happen, but it's equally important that we address this inclusivity question, both on a priority as well as on a scale platform. To me, actually, there are four pillars of this just society issue. And these four pillars are around governance frameworks, are around sustainability and ecosystems, around inclusivity, and what is priority sector in the new India as against the old India.
Okay, Windy Banga, how would you sort of put that? Sustainability in a division of income, bringing equality, inclusiveness. How are we going to do this along with economic growth and numbers?
I think inclusiveness has to be a part of the story for India, in fact, and I very much support the current government's thought process in this space. We are 1 billion people, more than that, and the population is growing. It's a complicated country, complex country, diverse country. I think we cannot afford a situation where growth happens only at one narrow end or at the top of this particular society. What I think is being attempted here in this country is a unique form of the capitalist model, but at the same time looking for inclusion. I don't believe anyone has tried this anywhere else, and I certainly would wish that it succeeds.
So we've got a unique model. I think that's an interesting statement coming in from Windy Banga, because we tend to be an economy which has a lot to learn as it develops. Many of the others have actually set examples of what not to do, and that would probably be Europe and US at the moment. Mr. Biani, you're a consumer-driven firm. How are you able to inculcate value systems that go beyond profit into your system?
I think one of the values which we have inculcated in our organization is going with the flow and being a part of nature. And whatever we do is in the interest of nature and the harmony of the place where we are existing. So every of our policy decision is made accordingly. So I think that's the part of our contribution to whatever we are doing.
Okay. Let me actually make this discussion a step broader and get Mr. Gopalakrishnan in. Do you think, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, Indian corporations will be any different from the much evolved Western models, since we have already learned what not to do by looking at them? Do you feel that we have a lesson learned out there?
Yes, I think so. We have the great advantage that we can study the mistakes that others have made. And in fact, right from our inception, I think the Indian corporate model has, certainly Tata's has developed in a way which is more responsive to social needs. So I do believe we have many lessons which can help us to be better corporates.
You had you agree with that, Sanjeev? I mean, have we actually done that, or are we still doing that in theory and philosophy?
I always defer to Gopal, but not this time.
Okay.
I think Indian corporates, and I'm not talking of 10 corporates or 20 corporates, but I'm talking of the weighted average. And I think the entire Indian leadership class, and I don't want to single out the political class, the industrial class, the bureaucracy, I think we are failing the test of right and wrong. I mean, no society is perfect, but we have a huge scope for improvement in these areas. And I think the question is not so much that, we must get the right people at the leadership. The system should be such that it throws up people with a sense of right and a sense of wrong. And when we are populated by a large number of such people in the leadership, then the right decisions and the right actions are more likely to happen.
Sure.
And I therefore feel we have a bit of a struggle, because nominally we've got parliamentary democracy, we've got a fine constitution, but somewhere the system is tripping up.
It's a very interesting point you raised, that it could come from bottom or from the top. Now that's the question. Are we still depending, Gunit, on the trickle down of the richest phenomenon, or do you think there's a concerted effort, let's say for example in policy making, which will lead to more inclusive growth? Where is it going to come from?
I think there is a lot of thought leadership which is going on with the government, going on with the private sector, going on through public-private partnership in building the inclusivity directly rather than leaving it to the trickle-down effect. But I think we are still on a scale of 1 to 10. Probably we are at 2 or 3 in terms of how much we need to go.
Ravindi Banga, trickle down. I mean, you've run HUL and of course Unilever at a global scale as president, former president. How do you look at this phenomenon? Should it be a trickle down in a country like India, or should government take the lead?
I think what I see here is the government is genuinely trying to liberalize and allow entrepreneurship to flourish at all levels. Inevitably, entrepreneurship will flourish more at, let's say, the top and the middle, where there is already a market in existence. But what they're also trying to do is then trying to use government resources to stimulate income, development, employment,